And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey mateys, I'm Tom Vasel.
And I am Zee Garcia. What's happening?
I don't think anyone says hey mateys. It's our mateys or whatever.
I
Anyhow.
don't know. Yeah.
Today we're taking a look at a game that I was really pumped about when I heard about it, Dark Seas. Because Pirates is one of my favorite themes.
It looks great.
AEG does some good jobs. Yeah, the artwork looked good. Now, we got a very early copy. I think Tabletop Day was one of the copies. And so the first thing I noticed when I opened it up was that the dice weren't right.
Yeah, it really threw me for a loop. I kept checking the rules and checking the dice and going, wait, what? These only show up in some places but not in others?
Oh, it's because I forgot to give you that sheet.
Right, and then we later saw a sheet that says, we messed up, and the symbols don't match, but the colors do, so just look at the colors. Okay.
And I think that if you get a set now, it probably is fixed in that regard.
Right, I believe they have produced dice that are fixed.
So anyhow, let's take a look at the game.
And up she rises early in the morning, shaving his bell of the rusty razor, shaving his bell of the rusty razor, shaving his bell of the rusty razor early in the morning. Way hey, and up she rises, way hey, and up she rises, way hey, and up she rises early in.
Each player builds their own little island at the beginning of the game that you'll be placing different colors around the outside of this island. You're also going to place a dive bar, a barkeep, and a tile of your choosing. You'll draw 4 and place one of them here around the outside. Each player also gets a random treasure. These show symbols. At the end of the game, you're going to get points for the more you have of each type of these symbols. And there's all different sorts of symbols, so getting the same type might be more difficult than you might think. And then you also start with some money. Now, the whole point of this game is to get points, and at the end of the game you're going to get points for those treasures like I just told you. You're also going to get points for pirates. Each section of your island that has a pirate on is worth 1 point. If the whole section is filled up with pirates, or spots for 4 of them, that's an extra point. And then finally, some pirates can be upgraded into dread pirates, and those pirates are worth 1 point each. So you're trying to get as many pirates as you can. And there may be tiles and things that get you points also. And we'll be keeping track of points up here on the round chart as you track the rounds of the game. Now, one player is the active player, and that player is going to take 4 dice, and they're going to roll them. Now, I should mention here that I have a very early edition of the game where they made mistakes on the dice with the symbols. The symbols don't match, but it doesn't really matter because you're only looking at color anyway. So the player looks at the dice and maybe they decide they want to re-roll some of the dice. They can pick as many dice as they want to re-roll. And so here I've rolled 2 browns, a green, and a purple. Now each player looks at their hand, and if they have a tile in their hand that matches one of the colors that's rolled, this one matches a blue, so that doesn't work. But let's say I had in my hand this tile here, Reckless Ralph. I can ignore everything else in the tile and just at the bottom, this will give me a coin for every brown that's rolled. So I roll 2 browns, I can discard that and take 2 coins. There's also, maybe I have this one here, which for each brown that's rolled, I get a treasure token. So I would take a treasure token for each of the brown tokens. If there's a green one or a purple one, I could get 1 each for discarding those tiles. After that, each player then is going to decide where to move their pirate. You can move your pirate to an adjacent spot. So in this case, let's say I move my pirate to the blue area. Now, if you move your pirate to the middle island, you get to draw 2 plunder tiles. Those are these tiles I've been showing you. And you get to discard one and keep the other, or you can take a doubloon, your choice. After everyone has moved their pirate, you're then going to move your ship. Your ship can move based on the colors that you've rolled. Here I've rolled a green, so my ship can move here. Then I rolled a brown, so my ship can move here. I rolled a purple, so my ship can move here. And my pirate's on the blue one, so my ship can move there also. So depending on the numbers, the colors that are rolled, and where your pirate is, you can move your ship 1, 2, 3, 4, or you might not be able to move it at all. When you move a ship to a spot, there's going to be 1 or 2 tiles attached to some of the spots, and you'll get whatever is at that spot. So here, for example, it says gain 2 doubloons. So I would have got 2 doubloons. Here I would have drawn a plunder tile and gained an infamy. Infamy is points over the course of the game. Once I'm done moving, I'm allowed to take one of the tiles from my hand and place it adjacent to the spot where I land it. And if both spots are full, there's 2 spots for each tile, I could even replace one of those. And different tiles will do different things. Like, for example, this recruits 2 pirates. So if I land here in the future, I could recruit 2 pirates there. And whenever you recruit pirates, you can pay a doubloon to upgrade a pirate to a dread pirate, which again, remember, are worth more points at the end of the game. Now, the rules in this original game have one player taking their turn, then each player doing it after that, all based on one player rolling the dice. The upgraded FAQ that's on the internet, you roll the dice and everyone basically takes their turn at the same time. Rolling the dice, playing tiles from the hand, moving your pirate, then moving your ship, then placing a tile. This will continue. Each player will get to roll the dice in turn order, going around. There's another die. Sometimes you need to roll this 5th die for random purposes of some of the tiles. And they'll be gaining infamy and putting out pirates and gaining treasure tokens. And after the 12th round, you will count up the treasure tokens, you'll count up the pirates and things, and whoever has the most points or the most infamy is the winner. Dark Seas is one of those games where I really feel like maybe when you play the second edition, you will enjoy it more than those of us who played it the first time through.
For sure.
The dice were messed up, there was some cards that were misprinted, but most of all, the rules were problematic. The initial rules basically said, I roll the dice and I do all my things. Pop, 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 pop. Move my guy, do this.
Right.
Now you use my dice. Now the next guy uses the dice. And in a 4-player game, that was just long.
Extremely long.
Even in a 2-player game, it was kind of like, I go, you go, you go, I go, I go. So then I got the errata, which says, hey, everyone plays at the same time. And we were like, oh.
Which is a huge difference. I mean,
It really is.
It's basically a different game almost at that point. And you're cutting your time. If you're playing with 4 people, you could very well be cutting your time down to a quarter of what it was. Think about that. That's huge.
Yeah, that's really surprising to me that was missed. But anyhow, I mean, you got, if you play the game and you're like, I don't like the downtime, try it that way. It really changes things.
It does.
Despite all that, I still think the game is best as a 2-player game. Mm-hmm. It's so fast and interesting. Although, if you do go simultaneously, you mentioned this, it does feel a little bit like simultaneous solitaire.
Oh, absolutely. It really does. I mean, and there's a few tiles and powers that do let you mess with other people, which is partly why I think it is better with only 2 players. Because, like, hey, poke, poke, let's keep going. You know, you don't have to worry about so much going on with 3 other players. But it really is basically a solitaire game. You are trying to be efficient with your little island, with your pirate placement, with moving that ship. And honestly, that's okay, I think. In this game, I enjoyed it. I thought it was fine. The game is attractive enough. It's fun enough. There's enough cool little hooks going on that it didn't bother me, you know?
No, and I liked it. I liked the variety of tiles. I will say that there's only a few ways to mess with the opponent, and to me, it felt like it's almost always better to help yourself than to hurt your opponent.
Right.
Because you might hurt them, but you will help you.
Right.
So I like that better, but I mean, I like the dual use of the tiles. That was a pretty cool thing, where a tile could be discarded from your hand for some bonuses, or you can place it out for the hope of future bonuses.
Right, right. I like the dice rolling also, and just having one reroll so you don't get to min-max everything, and it is a little bit more speedy. Roll one time, pick some, re-roll them, that's it. Now you got to deal with what you got. And that's interesting, and everybody using the same roll, I really like that, as opposed to everybody having their own roll. That would really throw the game into too much luck, too much chaos. But the way that bit works, I'm a fan of.
I wish that the cubes were something else, like little pirates. But other than that, I was happy with the components, easy to play. And it's pretty fast. With 2 players, I'd say you got 20, 30 minutes. What does it say in here? 45 minutes? Nah, it's faster than that with 2 players.
Right, with the actual corrected rules.
With the incorrect rules, it really takes like an hour and a half for 4 players, which is ridiculously long. So I don't know if they're putting the errata in new versions, but if not, go hunt it down and find them, because it makes the game better.
It's a huge deal.
And I don't even have a problem with the dice being wrong in this, because I honestly was able to turn off the symbols and just use colors.
Right, right. And again, if you have a copy that has the wrong dice, I know for a fact, because I've already done it, you can contact AEG and they will send you corrected dice.
Well, there you have it. So that's Dark Seas. Certainly interesting, but in my opinion, best with 2.
I'm not going to go that far as to say that. I think I like it with 3 also, and 4 again, but you're not adding anything to it with more than 2 is, I think, what you're getting at. So 2, 3, 4 almost work the same way is the problem because it's largely solitaire. So 2, yes, but ultimately, really fun pirate game. I enjoyed it a lot.
Dark Seas. Dice Tower Judgment. Approved.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.